With 9 players remaining, they are all guaranteed the better part of $68,000. 6-figure scores for the final 7, more than $500,000 for the runner-up, nearly $822,000 for the eventual grand final champion. And we are thrilled to have Lex Veldhuis with us for today's grand final. Lex, welcome.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm excited about today. It's nice that there was a day in between for me because I think this event felt really special and it was very painful to bust it. So I think if it would have been the day after, I'd be super salty and bitter, but I'm okay now.
Well, I'll tell you what's going to warm your heart, Lex, is the stories of the players who are effectively free-rolling this event and are now guaranteed a huge amount of money. Let's pick out a few of them. We have got Marina Yemelyanova, Marinka HT, who was playing a $7.50 MTT on Stars in the run-up to the Stadium Series, received a $109 ticket, used that to get into a $1,050 satellite, and then satellited into this 5K event. They are free-rolling, as is Ice Creamo, who took a similar route, but got a $109 satellite ticket from a random chess drop. Again, went 109, 1050 into the 5K grand final. 2 other players we should highlight made the final tables of one of the weekly freeze-out finals. And remember, we gave those tickets to players who made those final tables. Ilya Panfilov, who is Go All In Fish. Ara! You may remember that player from the $109 weekly freeze-out final, came third in that event to win a ticket. And then there's Leslie Groves, kaboom, who made the final table of the 2K freeze-out final, came 8th in that event. And the story there is that this player satellited into that 2K for $215. So satellited into the 2K, cashed out of that event for 30K, and is now guaranteed nearly 70K with 9 players remaining. And Lex, that is what the Stadium Series was all about. It was about the progression system. It was about the added value. It was about giving players these amazing opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, people have been asking me a lot, like, you know, why is it, why do we call it Stadium Series? But it is because we're literally gathering a crowd to look at something awesome and also kind of putting people in the middle of that stadium. You're on the field, this is your first time, and all of a sudden you have all these people rooting you on. You know, this is a life-changing moment. They could have told all their friends, watch this because I'm going to be cards up. You can follow all the action live with commentary. It's like being, you know, on a big sports broadcast and making it there for the first time, and your friends see you play Wimbledon on TV for the first time. So I think that's what makes it special, and it enhances the experience.
And here we go, guys, to the very first hand of the final table. Blinds at 250, 500,000. And we see a raise from the chip leader with Jack 8.
Yeah, that's very cool, because this just kind of shows us what the chip leader is planning to do. And that's pretty much, oh, it's my turn, I raise. Oh, it's my turn, nobody raised, I raise, you know? So, I mean, if you raise Jack 8 from that position, you're really not looking at your cards too much.
I would say you don't even have to wait for it to be your turn.
Yeah, and also, yeah, everybody knows. It's like, oh yeah, that guy's gonna raise. Oh,
I'm interested to see who the first person to play back will be, and how strong will they have to be to do it.
I'm gonna put my money on Footy18. I played with Footy a lot, and I know that Footy likes watching Twitch as well, so we've interacted a bit. But Footy is a beast. Definitely one of the tougher regulars to play against. So, you know, but regulars are also the ones who know that it's really hard. You don't get in these spots all the time, so you know, you can't really waste away an opportunity to ladder 3 or 4 spots by saying, screw it, you know, I've had a few bad hands, I'm all in, because the chip leader raises every hand. You know, a lot of times you just have to kind of get back in your box and sit back and let the chip leader do his thing.
Raise and take it again for Maxime Chiot. Dagamunagu.
All right, let's see the 5-9 offsuit. Okay, you found the line.
Our chip leader has total earnings of $552,000. We did reference yesterday that earlier this year in the 2020 Turbo Series, he took down event number 24, which was a 1K event, for $103,000. Well, this is Sergor versus Marinka HT. Sergor comes into this final table second in chips. We've already referenced that Marina is free rolling in this event.
Both players from Russia. Didn't Sergor hit Marina with a firework right as we were introing this final table? I wonder if they know each other.
I did see the throwable fly across the screen.
True. It's a casual hello.
Talking about results that players have had in other series earlier this year, Sergor had a 3rd place finish in Scoop 15 High back in May of this year for $109,000. Could eclipse that result today with a 7th or better finish.
Looks like Sergor has decided that when Dags folds, it's going to be Sergor time.
Oh, look at that.
We do get a re-raise from Fernando Viana.
Yes. Spraggy mentioned that F. Viana is also a very tough player, and just look at this, already understands the dynamic of the situation, knows that on hands when Dag folds, when Sergey decides to open, it could be with a super wide range of hands, decides to attack that, you know, has a very susceptible stack at Fiona. So I like the bravery of that play. Could certainly take a way more cautious route.
I can tell you guys that Fernando Viana has $528,000 in live earnings. As far as online poker is concerned, $4.7 million in earnings.
Strong. Strong to very strong, I would say.
Yeah, I don't know what that feels like.
What are you at these days, Lex?
Oh, don't even talk to me about live results, mate. It's embarrassing.
I'm online.
No, online, I don't know. I don't really look at that stuff. Also because it's like, I kind of feel like saying, oh, I've cashed for this much online. It's like, we've been poker professionals for a long time now. 100,000 cash doesn't mean 100,000 won. So especially kind of with the educational angle into that Twitch has, and I think the responsibility that you have to kind of pop that bubble for people, I will never ever repeat something like that. I mean, it's like cool if somebody was saved from chat, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm the person who cashed 10 million plus or something, because you know that's the way kind of people look at it too much themselves, and I kind of want to protect them from that. So, and this is good because I just don't win that much as those like animals. So this also protects me.
So we see Sergor and go all in fish. Go to the flop here. And Jack's still ahead, 3-1 favorite.
Pocket Jack's got to be loving this.
This is real nice. It's going to be very interesting to see. We saw King Queen suited kind of use their hand as a bluff. I can't imagine they would have re-raised and then called in that situation, but they just didn't really want to see what happened on the flop. And Ace Queen here decides to go for seeing a flop, seeing if a flop an ace or a queen. That's absolutely fine. I think it's very important to understand whatever we're going to see tonight. This is not a person that registered a 5,000 tournament and then is not willing to play for a certain way. This is people that every single pay jump opens up more possibilities into somebody's life. So if somebody wants to fold kings at this final table and we might see something like that, by all means, please just do. Like we don't know what the money means for everybody individually. And I think it's always super important with events like this to understand that and to respect that.
Yeah, I'm glad you highlighted the money jumps, Lex, and keep an eye at the bottom of the screen because every now and then we'll just roll those payouts along the bottom. We mentioned that 9th place pays nearly $68,000, but if you can ladder up into 8th, that's 84.5 grand. So significant money earned with each elimination. And everyone right now is staring at Ice Creamo and thinking, you've only got 5.3 million. You've now dropped down to like the 10 big blind mark. So clearly, we shouldn't get too tasty, shouldn't get too frisky until this guy goes bust.
I mean, they're looking at Ice Creamo like they're an Ice Creamo.
Yeah, they should. That every all-in represents, a start a possible 20K jump. Or, if you see two short stacks at the table, you go from 67 to 120. Well, if 67,000 is life-changing, then 120 opens up, a whole new area of possibilities or comfortability or whatever you want to do. It's just, it really is crazy how much the money jumps mean. And I mean, me, Fint, and Spraggy, we've all been at high roller final tables this month, and we're in lockdown too when we have a middle to small stack, and we're the pros, so.
Well, our chip leader now has more than 91 million. We see the open here from Marinka with Ace King. Vlada has got the snowman's Num Num, and I can tell you that Vlada is a professional poker player who also works as a video creator, satellited into this event, so invested $109 in a satellite, got into the $1,050 satellite, and then got into this 5K grand final.
I love it so much. I love the fact that there are basically 4 people who satellited it. There's 5 if you count the person who bought into the 1K satellite.
Interestingly, it's Leslie Groves who 3-bets here with Queen 8 of diamonds.
Yeah, this is one of those spots where Leslie, you know, we've seen him before during these broadcasts, and just the fact that he gets flat called by ace king just shows that it's an amazing situation to try and put some pressure and get some folds. Leslie is really gonna try and get the chips wherever he can to also kind of abuse that dynamic of pay jumps, because Leslie's been in these spots before, right? Or at least this series already, and we know that he's a professional. So if he can somehow maneuver his way into pressuring stacks, into making folds without the chip leaders interfering, then he's going to try. And it seems
It
like
should work.
Yeah, and it seems like his strategy. Well, there you go, beautifully done. His strategy is going to be to re-raise the people to his right that he thinks he can pick off, and not so much, I think, open, because that's when he'll run into the 2 big stacks to his left. And by 3-betting himself, he's going to get a lot of credit, right up until the delay catches up, of course.
So here we go, another open from the chip leader. The defend from ace 10, and what a flop for Dagomenigu. A pair and the flush draw. It is second pair top kicker for Efiana. Dagomenigu continues. Nearly 900k. Efiana calls. 3 of diamonds doesn't change anything. Efiana now close to being a 3-1 favorite. Playing in flow, checks again. And we're going to see a second barrel.
Yeah, I think checking here feels kind of nice. Like you might pick off some bluffs from King 9, King Jack, Jack 9, those sort of hands on the river. It's a little bit hard to sometimes imagine what you get check called by here, especially because you think that people are going to fold so often, right? So if you're expecting your opponents to play super tight, then do they really call the turn here with a hand like 10-9, 10-8? Oh, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Fernando Viana made the right decision to call flop and call turn, had the best hand, checks river. Dagomenigu has rivered the flush. We've got an 8 million chip pot. And Dagomenigu shoves river. It's all into call for Fernando Viana, who folds, and that will see Dagomenigu move up over 95 million, closing in on the 100 million mark. As Leslie Groves opens with ace-6. By the way, we contacted all the finalists last night, and we did ask Leslie Groves if they were happy to be identified by their real name. They said no, but they did say hello to Joe, let him remember that I follow him.
That's very sweet.
I hope that's a reference to social media and not something more sinister.
I just realized it could be anything. I haven't looked behind this background in weeks.
So we have gone 3-way to this flop. Queen's huge favorite.
Circle. Man, so far, this is just all Dags and Sergo.
Yeah, it's so funny how everybody comes into this table with their own ideas, with the idea of playing a certain way, like how are the big stacks going to respond, and within 3 hands we know the lay of the land and what this table is going to look like, unless something drastically changes.
Predictable, but good to know that that is how things are shaken out thus far.
Jack, Jack 6, just the one club. Ace
I think
high,
Marinka's
still
only
ahead.
way to save face here is to open fold. Just check out. Make him look like a jerk. Yeah, I know how this hand is going to go. Just take it.
Dax must be on cloud 9 as well, because when you come into the table with a plan like, oh, I'm so comfortable, I'm chip leader, but then if you lose 10 million, it looks so much different, because then all of a sudden you see a stack to your left, and now it's just like, okay, so this is actually just working. So I already have 10 million that I didn't have before. That's in my pocket right now. So I can just continue to do what I want. It's going to take a while for me to get back down to even what I started with today.
Okay, so this should be interesting. We've got a battle of the two biggest stacks at the table. It's an ace high flop, Sergol with top pair. Diamond on the turn.
So, James, I know the meaning of Daga Munigu. And it's not unlike when Lex Veldhuis says Spadaroo. It is a cheer. Yeah, exactly. Daga Munigu means go Monaco.
What? Really? Oh.
Joe, is this a hashtag fun fact or a hashtag fake fact?
This is a hashtag fun fact. A real, true fact.
Wow. So it's no reference to Dagenham in East London.
I don't think anyone in the history of Dagenham has ever said, go Dagenham.
Good point, well made. Well, round two, the blinds. Leslie Groves in the small with Queen 6. Our chip leader with Jack 9 in the big. Leslie completes.
How sweet it would be if somebody from Monaco won the grand final of the Stadium Series.
We see Leslie as well. Leslie not really backing down. Leslie doesn't want to raise because they might have to fold to all-ins, and by calling with the Queen 6, they know that they can see a flop no matter what happens, and they will be able to kind of assess from there. Obviously, it's really tough as well because it's 4 times the big blind. You're out of position. Somebody's super comfortable, you know. But we've seen Leslie maneuver around some tough spots before.
Ooh.
There we go.
The feisty check raise from Leslie Groves. It's going to escalate into some really intense clicking war. Can but dream.
You're playing with house money right now, as like Lex was saying, right? You're already up like 12 million on the day, and I think it's just very easy to accumulate chips without taking risks like this. But hey, there's a reason why Dag Manigu is here already.
Gets it done. Well done by Leslie Groves.
Yeah, for sure. Let's focus on the positive there.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a case of who wants it more, but what are you really going to do? You raise pre-flop, you bet the flop, you get check raised with so many short stacks at the table, an ace, 8-8. If you're just always going to think, oh, I need to call here because he could be messing with me, you don't have a backdoor flush draw, you know, it's Jack 9 offsuit. At best, you have a backdoor straight draw. Like, you know, it's just really hard to kind of see yourself maneuver in that pot. And I think that Daga Munigu is just going to also think, I win all these chips in all these other situations. You can have this one. Maybe next time we'll have it and we'll battle. But it really doesn't matter. You know, they still have like 7 million more than they started with.
Fishing for Fishy says, how sweet would it be if someone from Dagenham won the grand final? Well, here's the weird thing. We know that Maxime is originally from France and now lives in the UK, but we don't know where in the UK. Could be Dagenham.
It's like when and coming to America, they decide to live in Queens because they're looking for queens, and then they realize they've made a huge mistake. This guy's like, Dagenham, that sounds like Dag Menegu. Oh no, this is not like Menegu at all.
Should point out that Ice Screamo has now dropped down to 4 million, a sub 10 big blind stack, and it won't be too long until we go to 300,000, 600,000 blinds. Hold it around to the chip leader on the button. Opens with King 10 suited. Raise and take it. Line level lengths have changed. Okay, I guess we're probably now playing a 30-minute rather than a 20-minute clock, but the blinds are up to 300,000, 600,000, and that is not good news for Ice Screamo.
No, especially because the blinds are just about to hit him as well. Seems like a pretty nice spot to put some pressure as the second in command, effectively first in command, because the chip leader folded. I'll just make it very clear this time.
Dear Lex Veldhaus, you referred to this man as the chip leader, but there is clearly a player at the table with 93,611,489 chips.
Wow, that's good. That was a good one.
So 4.2 million is the 3-bet from Sergor. Gets called by Leslie Groves. Queen 3-3. King Jack high still ahead.
Yeah, that's some interesting turns and rivers for Leslie, but you also have to consider, like, you know, some of the stuff that you need to kind of feel good about that you could represent when you that you could backdoor. I mean, is Jack 10 really that great of a runout against this opponent in this situation? So you kind of want to forsake your straights. You have a back to flush draw overcards. Oh, that's a very interesting turn.
Flush draw on a double paired board.
And obviously this opens up a lot of opportunities, but it also does give Leslie that diamond draw. There's already 14 million in the middle. Leslie's got less than 20 behind. Every time this player's in a hand show, I can't help but think about Leslie Claret.
Yes.
Oh, we're going to see a bet here. Nope. Checked by Sergor.
It's tough too. You feel a bit handcuffed when somebody calls you pre-flop and they call on the flop. They're just going to have also hands like 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, all that stuff, lots of times. And this is just a great card for all those hands. Leslie is really kind of putting on a clinic what you can do with a middle stack at a final table so far.
Leslie with the structural dynamics of playing in flow.
And now up to nearly 34 million. And I see American Airlines at the table.
Oh.
I said American Airlines. Thank you.
Oh my. Obviously, I'm just jealous that you guys have effects like that.
Here we go. All in.
Here we go.
Ice Screamo at risk. And aces have no sweat on the turn. That is a double up for Ice Screamo, now playing 8.8 million. So no longer even the shortest stack.
Here's a live look at everyone else at the table. Oh!
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly the way it feels. I'm always when I look back, I'm like, people must think I'm really hurting. Though, if you see me respond to some of the short stacks not busting at the final table, sometimes you're just walking off screen screaming that it's about time for it. But, you know, I think that goes for that. You know, for 80% of the times that someone is at the final table, or 90. Oh.
Yeah, we get the all in here from Vlada.
Love this.
I was like, all right, well, I guess it's me now.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. Yeah, same.
So yeah, a reminder that Vlada Stojanovic satellited in for $109. In 2019, had a third place finish in a medium buy-in scoop event for $98,000. In 2018, fourth in a medium buy-in W Coop event for $62K.
Adorable.
And now with ace 8 of hearts, opens to just over 1.2 million.
Lex loves it when people make the bet size an odd amount like that.
I mean, online it doesn't bother me at all. It's live. It's like, because online there's no, oh hey, can you make change, or the dealer, you know, doesn't have to.
1,275.
Oh man, people that re-raise live to 3,075 really deserve casino bans. I mean, it's just a Jeff change. You just see the pain in a dealer's face, and it's just, why do you have to do that? Just make it 3,000. You know, either you're insanely good at math, or it really doesn't fucking matter, and it's probably the second.
All right, guys, I got Lex to say the F-bomb. If you can all Venmo me the $20.
Well, yeah, that was very unlikely.
So
no, whichever one of us got you to do it gets the money.
Oh,
way ahead here with top pair, and with the gut shot, Marinka leads American Airlines.
But no.
Question, can Marinka represent diamonds here, though? About 3 million into a pot of 5.7 million. How much do you hate this with just hearts?
it's really good. Marinka really understanding that have effects like that. This is the only way they can win the pot. They can rep a very feasible hand to get it done too.
Here we
Wow,
go.
impressive.
Ice Screamo at risk.
Pretty cool.
And aces have no sweat.
Wakes up
on
with
the
a
turn.
huge
That is
hand.
a double up for Ice Screamo now
in the small blind, and
Ice Screamo, who we saw get the double up with aces a couple of hands ago, now has ace jack. Still pretty short. Starts the hand with 8 million at the 300, 600 blind level. Opens to 1,235,000. Just a call from the queens. A bet of 1.2 million, and there is the check raise all in. Stack. Whoops.
All right, you did it. You saved face. Let's go.
Question, had Marinka, I mean, I know there's no way of knowing for sure, but what's your theory, Lex? If Marinka had 3-bet pre, do you think it all goes in before the flop?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think if the answer is a definite yes there, then Screamo might have just went all in themselves. It's really kind of hard to see what the intention of that min raise is before the flop. If this is a, like, I don't need to take the risk and I know I look super strong, which is just kind of like very smart and composed, or I really don't want to go out with ace jack and I'm just going to min raise, and if somebody does something, then I'll see. You know, so there's definitely multiple angles that could have played into that.
Yeah. So we've got top pair.
I'm not so sure.
A wheel draw here.
Yeah.
I mean, the net result is that Ice Screamo is now the short stack at the table again and has dropped below the 10 big blind mark once again.
Feels very tense.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about serious amounts of money now. We're at the business end, not just of this grand final, but of the Stadium Series itself. It's all been building up to this moment. We've been qualifying players for this event. 2 of the players at this final table have earned tickets for this event through final tabling previous weekly finals. And now, Dagamunagu putting the pressure on with that draw. But blind on
Just don't
blind, can
see
you
how you...
fold top pair here? Ever?
No. I mean, look, obviously the big blind does have lots of combos that have top pair beat.
Mhm.
It is, you know, it is most likely to happen in this dynamic where they're going to have all the 4-5s, all the, you know, all of the 5-6s, all of the not flop straights, but turn straights.
Whoa.
That seems a little tight to me to fold top pair, but I mean, that's the one place where it's not insanely tight.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we've got Futi 18 with American Airlines.
Oh.
The aces are back.
Boy.
And that was a shove, small to big. Futi calls all in and is going to get the double up through the chip leader. Again, trying to apply pressure from the small blind. Pushed on Futi, who understandably called all in with aces and is now up to 18 million. Whoops.
I don't know about that call with 3 shorter stacks out there, guys. I'm not really sure.
Now raising 9s on the button. Sergor, king 5 in the big. Pair of 5s, but 9s still way ahead. And yes, John, the chip leader has run into aces twice and doubled up 2 players. I don't think he's crying too much. He's still got like 82 million and continues
Oh, no,
to...
he's definitely at home going, oh, I run so bad.
Oh, of course. Well, this goes to the turn. The 9s, close to a 9-1 favorite now. And the lead from Sergor for 1.8 million.
Yeah, this is one of those leads where my hand's going to be good quite often. The turn is a card that should hit me very often, not you. I don't want to give a hand like King Jack a free river that could also bluff me off on an ace or a 10 or any of those cards. So this is a dynamic you see a lot, is check all the flop and then lead the turn small. And it just serves different purposes. You get some value from weaker hands, and it looks really scary as well. As you can see, the 9 just insta check. Obviously, flush gets there. But King 5 just kind of makes sure that way that they go to showdown often. They don't get bluffed too much. They don't get free cards to hands they don't want to give it to. So super interesting to see that.
Yeah, and Dagamunagu now up to 88 million. And we see the short stack here. Min raise with kings. Is that a massive tell that they have a monster here?
I mean, they did it with the ace-jack, so I guess it's okay. I guess this is just a player that wants to see all the facts before they commit all their chips. And I can't blame him. You know, if three people behind them go all in, I'm pretty sure they, in that spot, could just say, you know, coming from a satellite and stuff, you know what, I fold, good luck. You know, exactly what we talked about during the opening. I don't want to risk a 4-way all-in with kings. I'll take an average of 1.5 pay jump. Thank you very much. And if something crazy happens, I'll actually jump 60K. So I think that when they're not last to act, or when there's at least like half a whole table left, they're always going to keep their options open.
Yeah. Well, in that last hand, we saw Efiana open shove with ace-queen and not get any action. Now has pocket 3s in the big blind. It's been folded to Sergor, who moves all in with king 10. All in to call with 3s? No. Lada with your favorite hand, Joe, Queen Jack suited.
No. All-time worst hand in the history of poker. Get ready for the 8-4-5 2-diamond flop.
I don't think we're going to see a flop. All in and 3 fold.
It's actually the only way to win with that hand.
I have ace, I raise. Oh, this could be interesting though, because if you're gonna battle big stack versus big stack, and you know, oh, that's too bad. That'd be very interesting to see a call with the deuces there, because I know that there's so many all-in stacks behind you, but it's just very unlikely that those all-ins will happen at the same time, just because of the layout of this table. And to play a chip leader in position would be very interesting to take a flop with deuces. Generally, you don't really want to call with low pocket pairs, even if you're deep when there's lots of people behind you, just because of that squeezing aspect. But I don't know how much the squeezing aspect plays into
I mean, no one's probably going to be pure squeezing, right? Like if you get squeezed, you can just release your hand.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to play super honest when you call there. So it's not like people think, oh, this is cool. I have king-9 suited and I'm going to look super strong, so I'm all in, you know? It's just like king-9 suited. Oh, not this tournament, you know? So it's just going to be top hands.
Back up to 90 million.
Yeah. Get some asked, why are the payouts so high in a 5K tournament? Because there were 971 entries.
Yeah, this was a huge event, and it's day 3 of the grand final, which started on Sunday. They played into the money on Sunday night. 119 returned for day 2 to play down to the final table, and now the final 9 are playing down to a winner today. Lada with ace king. Fernando Viana with pocket 6s.
I can't remember, in the end of the PSPC, did they make all the Platinum Pass winners like wear something that let everyone know they were Platinum Pass winners? They didn't, right?
No.
Because that would be hilarious if they just marked everybody that won their way into this tournament, just put like a target on them.
Pocket 9s here for Viana. And that...
We put a little fish next to their name so you knew who to attack.
A raise, all in. Everyone folds. Next hand. Chip leader on the button opens with ace 8. Second biggest stack is Sergor. 9-4 of diamonds. And that's a defend. A 5-3-3 flop. Just the 1 diamond.
I just watched season 4 of Alive, where the winner had to survive like 64 days in the Arctic for 500K. Lol. That's probably easier than beating this field.
Continuation bet. Sees Tegaminagu win the pot and move up over 91 million now. Well, this could be interesting. Ace Jack on the button, Queen 10 in the big blind. But it's the chip leader who gets in the way by raising with 6-4 off.
Lex, when you have a stack like footies, is it liberating just knowing you can't play any hands, or is it frustrating?
Such a good question. It's liberating in a way, because you know you don't have to play the Jack-9 suited or the Jack-10 suited, or you know you don't have to do all these things. It's being a little bit above it that makes it super tense, because you know you're just going to play really, really strong hands. Oh, this is a really great shove. Wow, Vlada really attacking the opens.
A lot of
Great.
degaff.
Oh, wow, some hands out there now.
And we've got ace king here for go all in fish Ara, and that is all in. Shoves for just shy of 12 million.
Well, Vlada can't bust go all in fish. Sergey could. Sergor, excuse me.
Pocket nines. 20 big blinds.
Am I the biggest nit in the world, but that I wouldn't want to give up this like commanding second in chips by calling it off with nines here? Am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't feel too hot about nines here for 20 bigs. Because, you just kind of think at a table like this, is somebody going all in with eights? Is somebody going all in with sevens? Probably not. And then
Probably not.
I know that, like overcards are a lot more common than over pairs are, but I guess overcards you're flipping, and it's just not a great spot. But at the same time, nines is a really strong hand, and they might have played with that player for 2 straight days. So if you've seen them make a move at the start of the tournament, like go all in with sevens for 23 big blinds from mid position once, then okay, well, this might actually be a call, and that's kind of history we don't know about. So I can definitely see situations where they might want to go for it.
Using a decent percentage of their time bank here.
Sergor is a direct buy into this event. So maybe, not life-changing money for every ladder. Could factor into the decision a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they fold here, they think it's a theoretical fold, right? They think, okay, oh wow, they call.
There's the call. Now it is all into call for Vlada.
This wow, I don't know. It's quite insane how often queens come up as a hand that you have to fold when there's all-ins before you, especially with their position here. And you just kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a fold there, honestly. This is really tough.
Do you think Sergor ever tanks that long with a hand that has queens crush, like just for deception with kings or aces?
Yeah, I think so, because if you just snap call a 20 big blind all in at this final table, it's just like, okay, I'm sorry. Then you can literally just pitch your queens immediately. Because if there's a no decision for 20 big blinds, like every single decision except aces, kings, and queens should be tough here. So
now it's Vlada's turn to eat that time bank and decide whether to call this all in, which they do. And that means we have a 3-way all in, a queen and a 9 on the flop. Heart's not a factor. That is going to be top set for Vlada. That is going to be a near triple up. And we see our first elimination from the final table. Ilya Panfilov, go all in fish. Ara does not improve with ace king and is out in ninth for $67,991.50.
I think there were 2 people in the world rooting for a heart on the river. Me and go all in fish Ara.
And now Vlad.
Love how unpredictable poker is. Like, we just never would have suspected that's how long it would have taken for the first bust out, who it was going to be. Like, it would have been, way down the list of scenarios.
And this could get interesting because we've got the chip leader opening with king queen suited, and Vlada, who we know has no problem playing back against Dagamunagu, has got ace king. Now Sergor gets involved, 3-betting with 5s.
If they just rip it in here, I will give them a standing ovation.
I don't know. I really wonder in these situations, right? Because it's the 2 big stacks. You're not supposed to be bluffing here very often at all, or you're not going to be perceived to do so, right? Like, people might think, well, once in a while he's going to do something funky. I really wonder if you could just protect yourself and make it 11,000 here and fold to all-ins, just because of the insane ICM implications. I really
Before
think,
you guys get all crazy in chat, he means 11,000.
I think I don't know. It's just seeing this, and this is cards up. You know, this is cards up, and it's so hard because of these short stacks and the pay jumps, and you know,
Yeah.
how are they gonna look at my play, and how do they think they're perceived? You know, you might make all these assumptions, and you think, well, just gonna make it 12 million here, and if they go all in, I fold because Dagamunugu will know, and Dagamunugu might think, you know what? These guys know now that I opened the king tens and the 6 offs. Oh, he's gonna rip it. Very nice.
I think Joe is a fan of that move. And it
That
will
was
see
awesome. Come on.
Ladder, who did satellite into this for $109, move up over 41 million chips, taking the #2 spot on the leaderboard. Sergor now opens with ace king of diamonds, gets called by the chip leader, and it is domination rotation, a pair of jacks for Dagamenagu.
That was so hot. I don't know if it was right, but it was sexy.
So no betting on the flop. 7 of spades on the turn. And our chip leader is now an 84% favorite. And leads for 1.88 million.
Guess who's second in chips now, by the way?
I just pointed that out.
Well, worth repeating, because that was boss.
Sergor does have the gut shot. Might think aces and kings are both still live. Okay.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Sergor was a pre-flop aggressor, checked back the flop, now raises the turn after the lead from Dagamenagu.
This is already a great day.
There's the
Gets
call.
called.
And there's now 15 million in the middle.
I think we saw Sergor give up
It's true.
last time they got stationed twice. Maybe the lack of club, the lack of another big straight card will make Sergor think that another barrel could get this done. Nope, does give up again. I guess you can sleep well knowing that maybe you get called anyway by the jack.
I don't know. I think when you see second pair there, it's really hard to be satisfied, right? If you see a set of ace or something,
Yeah.
it's going to be a bit easier. But at the same time, you know, you can't really beat yourself up over that. I really like the way Sergo is playing, and Dagamenagu just sniffed it out. That's one of those spots where Dagamenagu is like, yeah, right, okay, mate. I'm playing this aggressive and I'm folding second pair. I don't think so. But what you guys said, this is so good.
I just don't think it's going to be long until Dagamenagu has more than 100 million chips. Now on 99 million, almost there. Better than a 2-to-1 chip advantage over Vlada, who's currently second on the leaderboard. And now we have sevens for Marinka. Leslie Groves with ace queen.
We see a limp, a late position limp.
Yeah. That's very smart in these kind of situations with that many short stacks at the table. You obviously open yourself up to these kind of situations at the same time. I don't know if 20 big blinds is enough to really comfortably just kind of play flops, because now all of a sudden you're playing for set value, right? And it's really tough to navigate through a pot depending on a 12% chance to hit a set. And then when there's overcards, it's going to be super tough. And it's also not to say, what if the flop is 8-4-3? Do you check raise all in at this stage? Do you check call and fold on the queen turn? You know, it's so hard to just navigate a pot to the river. And there you go. You know, this happens all the time as well.
So top pair now for Leslie Groves. The ace on the turn. Marinka checks a second time.
One thing I'll say, though, for Marinka, I think that it's smart. It is generally very smart to start limping in these situations, because that's the way you will get to see a flop. And as soon as you min raise, it's when somebody's going to put you to the test for your whole stack. So I think, you know, I definitely want to give a lot of credit there for coming up with that.
So the players in this 5K, $5 million guaranteed event go on break. We are 8-handed in the high buy-in event, 7-handed in the medium buy-in grand final, the $530 version of this tournament. Joe, Lex, talk us through it.
Bake them away, toys. And I can tell you what, there would be some avatars getting blocked at this table. It's the first thing I do whenever I start playing. I'm like, block, block, block. You're cool, block.
I only block the people with clown pictures.
Well, there's one of those here.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, that's not, yeah. that's the kind of clown picture I'll be able to handle, like somebody with a nose or something, but not one of those. You know what work really bad on me is those clown pranks when they show up and they stand to look inside your house and they do that. You know, that would work really bad, because I'd just be like, well, I'm not taking any chances. You know, I try to sort it out.
Well, when you and Spraggy go camping, I'm just going to stand in the woods in a clown costume and wait for you to notice me. What do you think?
I honestly think if there would be somebody, if I would be in a tunnel and there would be somebody, you know, with like one of those fake chainsaws dressed up as a clown, I'd just go full speed ahead, because I'm not taking this chance. There's a 5% chance that he's out to get me. I'm just not taking it. You know, they should have known the risk when they dressed up as a clown with a chainsaw. So
there have been many accidental clowns dressed up as with chainsaw deaths over the years of people that were doing it very innocently. Yet they got run over anyway. All right, guys, what's going on here? We got Just Pray. That's the chip leader, 115 million in chips. Player at the top of your screen there. Everybody now guaranteed with 7 remaining. Just under 40,000. 300 grand up top in this event for a $500 buy-in. Pretty sick. There were over 4,200 entries in this event.
Yeah, it's I have to say, like, playing these events, these big freeze outs, it was something very surreal, because I felt so much tension, because it was the one and only bullet. And you know, normally when you have 3 entries, by the time you're on your 3rd entry, you're kind of worn down a little bit in terms of feeling, oh no, I'm not going to bust, am I? You know, this is the 3rd time, and you're already thinking, oh, here we go again. But to be on 1 entry and 1 entry only, it really feels like I have 1 shot at this, and every all-in feels a lot more tense. And this is definitely the hardest I've sweat a $500 buy-in in quite a long time.
Did you play all 3 levels?
Yeah. I mean, the 55 is also, it's just one of the best. I would say it's probably the best $55 tournament in the past 10 years. And it goes for this 500 as well, and it goes for the 5K as well. So I would not miss out on that.
Yeah, you know, I obviously don't want to throw anything out there that's not true, but the 971 entries for the 5K has got to be amongst one of the top biggest fields in a 5K of all time.
Well, the good thing is that, you know, if you knock Lena out, they're gone. So that's what makes that 5K so special, is the amount of unique entries into it. And you're right. Like normally you might see, you see 100K with 120 entries, but then 10 people bought in 4 times or something. So that's to each tournament their own. And obviously for one tournament re-entries work and the other it doesn't. But like I do really think that that's what made this one special. I think for everybody, even people that grind super high rollers and stuff, you play that 5K, you see the fields. Like I got moved to the table. I didn't have a note on 6 people and I know almost all people in high stakes tournaments. So that means that I had never played with them, which is just crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah,
In a 5K
great.
buy-in, like how many people are there to kind of really just randomly play those? So it just spoke volumes for the event.
This goes check, check. Top pair good for Ferda, I should say. No, I do not recognize the person in that avatar photo. To whoever asked. It kind of looks like Stu Unger a little bit, but guessing that's not who it is. Ferda House from Brazil playing against Hanji from Canada. And the chip leader in this event, Just Pray, Year of Romania. Ferda. Value betting top pair. Hanji, I assume not contemplating a call. And Ferda's going to pick up that 12 million pot as the medium event goes on break. But it's time to get back to the high. Let's get high, my babies. Back to the final table of the freeze out grand final. 8 players remain. Everybody now guaranteed nearly $85,000. None of the expected short stacks went broke during the last session. So there is still quite a bit of laddering up potentially to be done. And Maxime Chalot continues to hold over this field. We have got action way underway and a big pot is a brewing. Was that ace queen that just folded? Leslie Groves, you animal.
Yeah, got 2 better hands to fold. Leslie Groves really looking like a contender with the way they're playing.
So I just want to, this story is, I think, checking out. Make Trewezo in chat claims to be roommates with Dag Menegue. Says they'll send us a picture if they win. Dag Menegue playing from the other room, apparently. That would be cool. I appreciate that. Seems to be a believable story. And good luck. Honestly, if Dag Menegue takes it down and wants to chat with us, I'm sure we'd be down with that too. So keep that in mind. Leslie Groves raising ace queen. Sergor 3-betting. Ace 10 from the small blind.
Yeah,
probably expects Leslie to be a little bit lighter than this.
Yeah, but also it just gives Leslie a taste of their own medicine now. And
exactly.
Sergo out flops Leslie, but Leslie's not going to go anywhere on this flop either. So, ace 10 looks like, so it's okay, it's okay. I flopped a 10, and then you bet and they call, and you're on the turn, and you're like, And that's when things get interesting. And it seems like Sergo is kind of preventing that from happening and just takes it easy here. Starts pot controlling early, kind of underrepresenting their hand.
Domination, rotation. Leslie Groves still with, well, had a third of the equity. That has now been cut in half down to just a 15% chance they will catch up on the river. When it goes check, check, you probably are a little bit more confident in your 10 in this situation, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, any type of passive action is really going to kind of settle any doubts you have about the hand. I do really have to say, I do think that Leslie Groves would check here a reasonable amount with King Jack suited, King Queen suited. So, you're not completely safe against the King. So, I mean, you can't rule it out completely just yet. But obviously, it's a lot better than having to start check calling bets.
So is the plan here to check call? Because I feel like with a player that's shown, that they can get out of line like Leslie Groves, I feel like checking to them twice is just asking checking to get bluffed
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I mean, the moment you check a second time, you're gonna have to call 100% one bet and maybe two. That's also what kind of happens. You know, when you open the door for good players and they kick it down, you have to follow through lots of times. And it's not to say that you should just blindly call. It really depends on bet sizing as well. You know, would they shove this river? Would they bluff half pot? Or like, what happens with all that? You know, like I sometimes have an issue with the fact that I think, well, I checked here, and oh, hello, there's a 10.
Well, now you can call a river bet.
Yeah, that's very easy. Leslie might think in their mind, well, I would check a 10 on the flop. I would bet a 10 on a turn and check the river back. I have ace 10, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited. You know, maybe some 10 8 suited.
I'm loving this check here. Even if Leslie Groves doesn't decide to give up and check behind, I think based on what we've seen from Leslie so far, that checking is the move.
They didn't give up.
Sergor back up over 40 million, back into second place after that pot. Nice try, Sergor. Dagmenagu back in action, raising pocket fours. Ice Cream ace 9 suited. There's the shove. We are going to be flipping. And it's a 4 on the flop. That's pretty much lights out. There it is on the turn. GG Ice Screamo melted. Put that in your cone. $84,650. Congratulations. Yeah. We are down to 7.
Yeah,
and guess what? Once we get to 7, yeah, everybody's in 6 figuresville now. Vlada just ripping it in on the 2 short stacks. I'm a Vlada fan. Just based on the style thus far.
Yeah, Vlada's playing excellently. Absolutely stunning performance so far. And, you know, it's only a few hands. So you could say, like, well, should you really call it stunning? But the bigger the stakes and the more on the line, I think the more accolades you can give somebody just playing every hand this well, because it's really hard to come up, not with what you should do, but also actually follow through with the decision. And we can see that with the queen 10 all in earlier, the ace 10 offsuit all in. You know, they really, Dagmenagu attacked Dagmenagu's opens with some really good hands, and doing it off a 12, 13, 14, 15 big blind stack is just fantastic.
Now, a couple folks might be wondering why I said congratulations to the 8th place finish. I just want to remind everybody that Ice Screamo satellited into this, starting from $109. So 84,000 from 109 is absolutely something you should be thumping your chest over. That's a very good spin up, ladies and germs. Leslie Groves calling this relatively loose open from Vlada. And man, oh man, Dagmenagu, come on. Foot on the gas. Leslie Groves. You can't call this, right?
I mean, sometimes the problem could be that if you go all in, then all of the aces that are bluffing are just going to fold. And if you call, you can make heaps of money on certain type of boards against, you know, hands like ace 5, ace 4 suited. But yeah, it's, I don't think you can really go wrong here with anything, to be honest with you. I do.
Even folding?
I think folding is a tad too weak when the chip leader re-raises here. I think there's a reasonable chance we're going to see Leslie go all in.
Especially you're a little under-repped, right? Just flatting with ace queen. Like, you could be certainly much weaker than that.
Yeah, this is a very tough spot though. Like I'm having trouble just like I don't really see a clear, oh, let's do this. I think that, you know, this
Yeah.
is the clear way to go. I don't really see that, like seeing the hand right now. So
Yeah, without hole cards.
well
And
done.
hey, I mean, you can't really blame Leslie Groves for letting it go. There's some super short stacks still in this thing. Dag Menegue up over 100 million and just pretty flawlessly wielding this stack. Obviously, we saw Dag Menegue double up a couple of short stacks and get in some weird spots, but has just printed the rest of the time. And flops top pair. Very good kicker. Dominant situation continues post flop. And has a 98% chance of raking this pot. There we go. Another pot for Dag Menegue.
Yeah,
right,
and you know, to also kind of highlight or answer some things that we see in the chat, when people fold big hands, it's not because Leslie Groves thinks that ace queen is not the best hand there. It's way more of a situation where you think ace queen is not worth the risk. So it's not, do I think I have the best hand? Yes, I do. Is it worth to act on that? No, it's not. And the no, it's not is because if we have two very short stacks with 15 big blinds or less on the left side of the table, and on the right side we have a 20 big blind stack. Let's say two of those players bust, you make $100,000 more. 100,000, and these are players that are in shove range. I have a good hand, I need to go with it. So, you know, just a little bit of trepidation is definitely warranted for.
Like whether you call or shove there, if somehow you go to a flop and your opponent has like king 10 or king jack, it's just a nightmare scenario for you.
Yeah.
Like them having live cards against you and you just, you know, lost a 60-40 worth a couple $100,000. I can absolutely understand folding ace queen. And it is really difficult, even for me, to take knowing the hole cards out of the situation. I think a lot of folks at home, if you were capable of doing that, you would feel a little bit differently about the situation.
Yeah. Well,
and a lot of you wouldn't, and a lot of you would go broke there with ace queen. And Lex is happy about that.
well, I mean, it's, you know, there's the situations are so complicated there.
Leslie Groves betting into pocket nines, which don't have a lot to be scared of on this board. Sergar makes the call, 14 million in the middle. Leslie Groves less than pop behind. One last chance to bluff out pocket nines. Sorry, Ra, you're right. Hold cards, excuse me. You got to take the hold cards out of the situation. Old habits die hard. Hey, yo, Leslie Groves, you old son of a gun. Rips it in.
This is very strong. This is amazing to see. To just think, you know, Leslie's thinking here as well. There's such a big stack that could pressure us both in the big blinds. You're not going to flat your big pairs here. You know you need to protect something in that way, so you don't rep big pairs. So good luck. That's pretty much it. And probably eights is even something that with the
Lex is predicting that the cape may be donned.
No, I don't know. No, I think I think this is a very, very tough call. Like, I'm just saying that Leslie is just assessing this in terms of, you know what? I have all the big pairs, and I think you have none of them because of what positions on the table we're at.
Man, oh man, Sergor has had some crazy decisions today. This time bank almost eaten away already.
What?
Makes the call. What a hero. Goodbye, Leslie Groves. The hero call from Sergor Elye eliminates Leslie Groves in 7th place for $117,000. Leslie got away from the ace-queen in a dominating situation, and then shortly thereafter attempts to run a multi-street bluff that gets thwarted by Sergor Elye, calling down with pocket nines. We are down to 6.
That is such an impressive call. Wow, that blew my mind. Really well done.
That was a 50K ladder for the rest of the table. Eviana pairs their 8. And turns straight draw on the board. Serg Gorelyi. Let's go with Serg. All right. Pair of 8's still the best hand. Mitch
Go
Digger
for
says
us.
Eviana been straight chilling and laddering up with his 6 million. True.
Yeah, true that.
And that's 6 million is now over 10 million. It's Marinka, the player in the most immediate danger.
I honestly think that the people that came in short stacked or off a satellite win and were, I think most of the people on the satellite wins were like mid to lower stack, right? I think that now we're at the point where everybody kind of has peace with what the minimum result is going to be, where you just kind of look at the pay jumps right before you start a tournament like that, which is probably the biggest spot of your career now and past time and time to come. And where you think to yourself, okay, 67,000 is amazing. But then you sleep, you wake up, and that's the new zero line, right? Anything from this point is now profit. And to think that now you're 162,000 guaranteed, that must already feel like, okay, I can relax a little bit. There's definitely a point where you think, okay, I'm past that line now where if I bust, I can just be happy.
I just want to remind everyone, too, Leslie Groves, although we did see Leslie Groves at a 2K weekly final. That's how they won their seat to this event. They satellited into that weekly final for $215. And their biggest online score before the Stadium Series was for 38,000. So congratulations again, Leslie Groves. Quite the spin up in the Stadium Series from 215 to 2100. Final table there. Final table's this for a 6-figure score. Top pair for Vlada. Gut shot for Serg. Nine on the turn. Paired board now. King, queen looking a lot less viable.
Oh, this is honestly, yeah, this is my nightmare. This is I hate playing against this. I think more than anything, when you have top pair and you think like, oh, this is great. And it's always on ace high boards that people do this as well, right? From the big blinds. And then the bottom cards or the middle card pairs, and they lead at you. And you just know that they could just be blasting the river all in, and you're always going to have this annoying spot, but you can't fold the turn. There's like all these things going on here that are extremely annoying. So when I see that turn lead, I have this PTSD where I just immediately am annoyed.
It's well, annoyed, scary, whichever way you want to slice it. Sergo, maybe at this point, River's enough showdown value that they give up on the bluff, but yes, that is in fact what happens. Pretty boy with a question about satellites. They're all different types of satellites. Some of them are single tables. Some of them are MTTs that pay a certain number of places in the field. Some of the people that spun their tickets up in this event are folks that just got free tickets for making final tables of other events. So they really do run the gamut. Davey noticing Dag Menegue still has an enormous stack. That's right, up over 110 million now. Serg raising the button. 8-6. Should get 2 folds.
Yep. It's quite crazy how the stacks have been kind of redistributed to where there's always 2, 10, 12 big blind stacks. I mean, this is just heaven for Dagamunugu and also for Sergo. I mean, I'm not going to say it's heaven for Sergo because they had to do some insane stuff to get to the position they're in right now. I mean, that call was world class, and but still, you know, these big stacks are in such a comfortable position, and lots of times when the bottom stacks kind of leave the battlefield, there'll be other stacks that have won those, and now all of a sudden you're all 30 big blind deep, and you realize, wow, anything can happen. But the situation is really similar to when we had 9 people. There's still 2 stacks very short, 1 semi-short, and the same chip leaders.
Well, it's ace high, and that's the best hand right now. But Marinka, with the best draw. And Serg is the player betting. This should work. It does. Serg back up over 60 million now. Pocket fours for footy. No thanks. Have you made any notes on players while doing commentary? Like, do you think to yourself, oh, I just saw footy? You know, not that that's a particularly noteworthy thing, folding pocket fours there, but.
Very interesting question. I think a lot of times I actually forget to make specific notes because instead of what people kind of do to consume the hand and just think, okay, what happened there and process it, and I might make a note, I talk to my audience about it, right? So this whole pattern or habit of making notes and kind of highlighting certain aspects of somebody's play, I've kind of left my game a little bit because of Twitch. So it's, you know, I make the note to my audience, not to myself anymore. So it's not in my system completely. Like when you said it, I was like, yes, of course. I'm sitting here doing commentary for 3, 4, 5 hours. I play against Footy almost every big tournament. You know, I should really be making notes of certain tendencies that I think I'm seeing, but you know, short answer, no, I don't, and I'm the worst.
Well, I mean, look, I should be writing down some of these jokes that I have for my reel, but you know, I never do that either.
Mm-hmm.
Pocket 9s against ace 8. 9 still good. The stars nuts profitable today, especially for Sergo. But it's Maxime Chilot, chip leader, who's betting. It's a nice safe card on the turn. Pocket 9s. Although against Maxime, it's hard to feel super comfortable knowing they're pretty much uncapped.
Yep. And here we see it again. It's the lead on the turn. It's to prevent a jack or a queen on the river from happening, or something nasty to be coming. They realize, okay, the chip leader opens so often. The 7 pairing is amazing for me. So I'm generally, my lead here is generally not just going to be raised or floated or any of that stuff, right? Because it's just a little bit too scary from the big blinds. Same as what we saw on the King 5, 4, 6 earlier. You're just not going to raise that because the big blind has heaps of that, you know? So really like that sort of protection. You also want to do it with a pair sometimes, not when you have some funky, you know, gut shot or straight draw that tries to take over the initiative.
Well, things are getting a little weird here. Dagmenegue with a real hand this time, raising it nearly under the gun. With ace-queen, 8's fold. Sergo getting a little out of line in position, 8-9 suited. And we see a flop of ace-king 7, top pair for Dagmenegue. A fun card for Sergo, but that's about 7 of clubs. Sergo may decide to continue repping anyway, and does. C-bets 3.2 million. And Dagmenegue makes the call. Pretty boring card on the turn.
Yep.
Sauce Chinese says 6 of clubs on the turn for action. I know. That would have been great. But, oh, man, Sergo is not giving up. Dagmenegue is just like, all right, I call. Sure. Cool. And the river is a 10. I guess a couple of semi-bluffs would have got there. One semi-bluff gets there on the river. And Sergo, we've seen Sergo give up a couple of different times. Now would be one of the better times if you're going to give up. There's absolutely nothing about this run out to help a bluff. I mean, that's pretty bad, right? When you can't even, not only can you not make your hand, but you can't even hit a card that lets you bluff. That is a brick. Dagmenegue up over 120 million now.
That was huge.
Like, you don't even need it. Yeah.
Yeah, the Dagmenegue has had to contend with Sergo getting a bigger and bigger stack and kind of coming close in terms of, you know, threatening the chip leads. But now he's so far ahead again. If he loses an all-in, he's still very comfortably in second. And that's an all-in against the biggest other stack at the table. So
yeah,
this is a huge momentum enhancer for Dagmenegue again.
Pocket 8s for footy. What a dumb spot. What a dumb spot. Comes in for a raise.
Snowman's.
Dagmenegue. Oh. Let's footy take it down. Even though we know if Dagmenegue was just like, let's just play it for all of it, footy'd probably have to fold it. Like this spot here. You just can't do it.
No. Ace 6 performs so bad as well. I mean, a hand like 7-8 just has 40% against you, and that's 40 times out of 100 they're going to knock you out of the tournament, and that's with 8 high. You know, it's absurd.
Raise and take it there for Vlad with ace king.
Well, we might see an all in here though.
Yes, we do. Pocket 5s for Sergo.
It's so much better to be the one going all in a situation like this than the one calling it off. So, you know, oh, look at that. Wow.
Sick cooler alert. Varenka, the shortest stack at the table, gets it in. Queens versus kings. 3 diamonds on the flop is not good news for Marinka either. Doesn't matter. That is the elimination of Marinka, who we believe is a female. Nice to see some representation at this final table. 31 years old, received a Stadium Series ticket for $7.50, spun that to a 109, spun that to 1,050, spun that into an entry into the grand final, cashes in 6th place for $162,067. Huge congratulations for that spin up. And as I said, fantastic to see a lady at the final table. Well done. 5 remain.
5 remain. Wow. Over 200K. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, these tournaments, man. Imagine, like, okay, you're 5th. Congratulations, you get 5th place. You already win 220,000. I mean, that's what big live tournaments have as their first place, you know? It's insane.
And with the 5 remaining, yeah, we're approaching $250,000 now. Guaranteed payout, 224. Blinds are up, 400,000, 800,000. Fiona and Footy, both below 20 big blinds now.
Oh. All right. And now the field definitely gets thinned out a bit.
And fold the round to Sergo in the small. These 2 stacks probably are inevitably going to play huge pots against each other, even though they shouldn't. King high against 4-5. Check, check. Both players turn 2 pair. Just going to try to make this hand sound more exciting. Sergo checks again, and River's a deuce, but it's no good. It's the king that plays. 3 pair for Sergo. 5 high for Vlada. How does the money not go in here? Cover your eyes. This could be carnage. Oh, it just goes check, check. Huh.
Yeah. Wasn't going to happen.
Was not on the cards. Folds around to Sergo. Is going to take a positional stance here to raise King 4. Fiona defends with 10-6, flops a pair.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, oh, maybe Fiona is now comfortable because, you know, comfortable in a way where you feel like you have nothing to lose. But again, we're in a position where 2 stacks are shorter, surrounded by bigger stacks. Of course, Fiona just had a double, but still finds themselves at the bottom of the ladder together with Foodie. So this situation just seems to be going and going, but it's making for so much interesting poker where people are putting pressure on each other. So I think from a spectator point of view, it's awesome. Yep.
If the audience is having as much fun watching this, even close to as much fun watching this as I am working through it, then I would agree. It's really, really cool. I think the Stadium Series is just the perfect name for this because it really is just designed for spectating.
I mean, you could even see just how many eyes, it has had on it. I mean, Knossi had 91,000 viewers yesterday, smashing, you know, Bible Thump of like any old records that other Watch the Pros might have had. But it's just been insane. I think that this week we've passed 100,000 viewers at the same time on Twitch for poker, and that is a massive deal. Not a whole lot of games, like all these games that you hear everyone talk about, Counter-Strike, or people, the whole world plays Minecraft and stuff. Poker have more viewers than those games. So, and that was on prime time when Twitch is most booming. I mean, this is incredible. That a lot of those people are new eyes on the game as well, and this just shows, I think, what an instrumental part Twitch and online streaming platforms can be in the eventual growth of the game. And looking back on it, I think it's going to be monumental what months like this and Twitch in general will have done for poker.
Look, in many ways, poker can't compete with other games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just as far as visually and just things happening on screen to keep short attention spans interested. But there is a reason why poker has stood the test of time. There's a reason why a 100-year-old card game is still compelling, and can still hook people from all walks of life. And I think that sometimes we get a little jaded and we forget that, but it's still such a simple yet complicated game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to see it doing so well with new folks.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, I think that one of poker's biggest downsides in gaming or esports or streaming platforms is the fact that it's not a hype, or, there's no tipping point of this game, ninjas playing it, but that's also the power. It doesn't need it either, right? It's a set in stone thing that the whole world knows about. And I think we should just use what the game is and the core of it and just make it very fun to watch and entertaining for people, and kind of put a new jacket around it.
Yeah. And you've done a lot for that, Lex. It's pretty cool, actually, to see it happen.
Thanks, bro. It's been wild. It's been I don't know. But look at how many people are just making good content now, right? It's just insane. Like, Finta Spraggy had massive scores. Spraggy had 31,000 viewers. Just chilling it at the top on Twitch. Just chilling it. This is someone who started with 0 viewers. Well, 1, I guess, himself, and maybe his mom. 2 viewers, and played 10-25 cent heads up or something. And is just now rocking it for 31,000 viewers. And it really reminds me of that, like that kind of when I started poker, where you can start at the beginning and put in a lot of work and grind up stakes, like what people can do. You can start with 3 rolls, then you can play cent, and then you can play for $20 binds and move your way up. And that's kind of what Twitch is like too. If you protect your quality, you work hard at it, and if you try to bring some consistency, who knows where you can finish.
Yeah, and I think it's actually kind of, not to get too #deep here, guys, it's kind of a metaphor for life, in that you need to put in a lot of work for whatever it is that you're trying to succeed at these days. This is kind of interesting. Top pair, top kicker against a flush draw and a straight draw. Vlada v. Dagmenagu. But, there's no way that Spraggy, when he starts playing 25 cents, 50 cents to streaming to 3 viewers, that he would know how long or if ever he would get to where he is, or when you started, that you would become the top poker streamer on Twitch. And it's like anything else, that success does not come immediately very often anymore. And it takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of feeling like you've achieved nothing until all of a sudden one day you're like, how did I get here? And it's because of all the hard work. And it goes for whether you want to be a streamer or a professional poker player or a comedian or a writer or whatever it is that you do these days. A lot of these things, you don't just get out of school and get a job doing your dream. You have to work super hard at it for super long without a lot of short-term gratification.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I think that's why we have a very interesting hand here also going on, where Ace King is taking it slow, also out of position. It's very hard for them to play the hand pre-flop, 60 big blinds deep. So they're just going to slow play it and try to make money on Ace and King high boards. Now this is a pretty dicey King high board, but they're so strong. They have like some of the strongest hands they'll defend the big blind with.
There's no guarantee there. We get a fold from top pair there. Just trying to protect that big stack. Still lots and lots of money to be made. And remember, let's see Vlada's deal. Vlada also 109 satellite into a 1050 satellite into the 5K grand final. So again, that's going to factor into people's decisions a little bit more when they decide, do they want to go to the mat, the top pair, top kicker on a semi-dicey board. Just to put a pin on what I was saying from before real quick too, in that there's no guarantee that even when you do that it will pay off in the end. So you have to make sure that you love it while you're doing it too. I think a lot of people who set out with the end goal of being a rich, famous streamer, and if that's all you care about, it's probably not going to happen for you because you have to be enjoying it as you go. We see the all-in here from Efiana. Cool.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. It's so important that you have intrinsic motivation if you go for these things where it's really hard to set goals, right? Like in poker, you can't say, oh, I want my bankroll to be 800 next year because you don't know what happens with variance, right? But if you, that's why when people come on my chat, it's like, if I deposit, what's the fastest game to make money? Like, what poker variant should I play? And I was like, you should completely give up poker if you think that's what it is, right? It's the same with content creation. The people that start Twitch and think,
roulette.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, I want 3,000 viewers within half a year. And how do I get there? It's like, just make content that you enjoy and that you love making, and it's very close to your heart. And then at least you'll enjoy the process, you know, at the same time. And people that just look at the end goal, I think kind of lack motivation or actually what they need to do, the clarity to see what they need to do to get to that goal. And it's very easy to distinguish the people as well, because those are people that, you know, will have long periods of downtime where 4 or 5 months there will be no inspiration, because the inspiration is something like making some random goal, you know, you have no idea how to get there.
Good stuff from Lex here, and a potentially big pot brewing. Menegue with a pair of queens would often be the best hand. Unfortunately, Vlada has trip jacks and bets half pot. And this is a spot where Vlada's probably going to get paid a fair percentage of the time.
See if Dogger Menegue can sniff it out there.
River is a non-board changing card. Menegue does not improve. Vlada with the beauty of being in position. Doesn't have to worry about, should I check or value bet? You get to value bet. El Terrible says, Lex, I'm a big fan of yours, but it's easy for you to have 10,000 viewers with your history in poker. But where do you think his history in poker came from? Lex wasn't born with that.
Yeah, plus I had 120 viewers the first time I streamed on Twitch. Definitely didn't catapult. You know, I wasn't playing any big games or live. I was kind of crawled back into this safe hole of just grinding online without doing much else for like 3 or 4 years straight. So, you know, the stuff that people knew me from was years before that. Obviously it helps, you know, because I think that getting over that first 10 viewer, 20 viewer hurdle, I think that's the hardest, to be honest with you. So
sure.
I think honestly the beginning of streaming and the end are the hardest. I think like getting from 0 to 20 viewers is insanely hard, and you know, going from 1,000 to 10,000 is incredibly hard.
Well, this has been, I mean, Lex did like 4 speeches in the length of time it's taking Dag Menegue to make this decision here. Good for you. Someone finally put Dag Menegue in a spot. And Vlada manages to take a couple of chips off the chip leader. 52 million now for Vlada. Edging out Sergo by a couple of big blinds. Serg getting a little fruity here with King Deuce of Strawberries. And then Menegue's just like, you know what? I'm done losing pots. There you go. Have an oversized 3-bet.
Yeah.
And is back up over 120 million.
Insane spot. Oh, we might see some action from Footy here. Let's see.
Will Footy get fruity? Yes.
Tutti fruity.
Oh, Rudy.
Just not an unreasonable amount to call off with King Jack. 12.5 bigs. Pulls it.
But he survives and moves back up out of the bottom spot. How big a collision will we see here? This would be absolute dream for Viana and Footy.
Yeah.
Somehow one of these two demolished the other. The raise, there's the re-raise. Do we see a fold of ace-7 here ever?
I mean, a7 is really
I
tough.
think Vlada's pretty honest, right? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the problem with a7 is like when you flop a 7, you're not really happy. When you flop an ace, you might get in some really hairy situations where you just always feel like you have the worst of it. And it doesn't flop any straights, right? So if you have ace-5, it's also already so much better because you can have 2-card straight draws and you can flop straights, and all that stuff just makes it so much more playable. But a7 is right down there in the pits in terms of playability. Love to see some pressure from Vlada. We have 2 short stacks. You cover somebody by almost 20 big blinds. Ooh, fold. That's spicy.
The 5s are all in. Huge sweats for these short stacks every time they move all in.
These are, yeah, easy, kind of easy answer pressure with when you're looking at what hands you want to pressure stacks with, you know, like going all in from small to big blinds. Hands like 10-9 do extremely well because imagine how happy somebody is to call it off with 8s or 7s and 6s and 5s. Then, you know, you flip against those hands. You do so well against hands like ace-5, ace-4, ace-7. So it's 10-9, 10-8, jack-8. They perform really well in those small blind all-in situations towards the big blind.
Uh-oh, it says, I got banned from Lex's channel for saying his game has no depth. Unban, please. Nah, how about we just ban you here, too? In your
Feel my power.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on.
Pair of eights is good right now. And 3/8 also good.
Yeah.
Still good. So it gets a little bit back. Been hovering between the 60 million and 40 million mark all day today. Did drop below that at one point. Patchko asks, Joe, where are you hiding your booze? I would never drink alcohol while on stream. It's unprofessional. Dag Menegue, King 5. Let's it go. It's this ace queen suited that I'm interested in.
Yeah. Footy not going to have any pushback. I mean, it's a disaster if somebody goes 11-6s there against you, and you know, I mean, you don't want to flip at that point. Lots of these hands just think, okay, I'm just going to print. I have two big stacks to my left that are playing well. I'm not going to be pressured.
I bet these short stacks are loving that the levels got increased from 20 to 30 minutes. Nice, gentle pace here at the final table. Final 5 of 971 in a freeze out. No re-entries. That's 971 unique. I mean, some of you aren't unique. Some of you are just complete robots. But technically, you're different human beings. Some of you are definitely NPCs. Queen Trey against Queen 9. Queen 9 already had the best hand, but probably ain't real mad at this flop either.
Yeah, I mean, you have it's nice to have a diamonds in your hand and your position, but you know, at the same time, losing 12-15% of your stack at this moment is a disaster. But the other 3 stacks are so big, you know, you can't just think, oh, there's another 20 big blind stack at the table. I just can't do anything anymore, because then all of a sudden you find yourself with 7 big blinds and the world has moved on.
I like that. That's a feeling I know very well, the world having moved on from me.
Yeah.
And the river's a deuce. Queen 9 high is the best hand. And you would think that we're going to see a bluff here most of the time. But no.
Well, let's see what Footy wants to do.
Will Footy bluff with the best of it? Yes. He's going to feel pretty happy about that. We won't tell him.
Yeah, Footy is good. I really like to see Footy do well. He's one of those regulars that I think gets it also in terms of kind of enjoying the spot that they're in and is up for a little bit of banter and all that stuff. So I've had really fun interactions with him.
So Footy bought into $1,000 satellite to win his way into this. Second in 2020 in the scoop high, the 10K high roller for 210,000. Also had a runner-up finish in a W Coupe in 2019, also in the high roller for 182,000. So some pretty good results for footy when it counts. If you're only going to make a couple of runner-up finishes, why not do them in the biggest buy-ins? By the way, that's not the only finishes footy's got. 4.7 million in total online cashes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Serg versus Vlada in the last hand before we take a break from the high. And it's Vlada betting with the best of it.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Sergo is going to just let the gut shot go.
Yeah.
This board really favors the big blind heavily, though, because there's just not that much 6-2s, 5-3, 5-4 raising. So it's very normal to check. I like this check raise very much. Well done.
Well, it's time to say goodbye, high. But hello, Hardigan.
Hello, Joseph. Hello, Lex, as we move across the PokerStars arena to pick up the action of the final table in the medium buy-in version of the Freeze-Out Grand Final. Blinds are 1.25 million and 2.5 million. Average stack is 70 million and 6 players remain. So we've got 5 players at the final table of the 5K and 6 players at the final table of this $530 buy-in event. The next player out gets $55,000. Top prize, $302K. Not too shabby.
Yeah, and we see one of the names that stands out here and immediately goes all in. Pisano, just somebody who seems to be kind of picking up the frequency of the play a little bit more. And I've played against him, and he's extremely aggressive. And he used to be known as just like the most insanely aggressive regular. I do believe that he's toned that down a little bit, but if I were any of the other players, I would not want him on a final table, because if somebody is fearless, they have a tendency to go crazy, and they've had a lot of recent success in poker. That's just a cocktail you don't want to be the straw in.
Well, lucky luck all in here with pocket jacks. No one has a hand to call him with. Current chip leader is Daigo Papel with 140 million. But Just Pray is not that far behind with 131 million. So 4,234 runners in this event, Lex. A prize pool of $2,117,000. So this one actually exceeded expectations, exceeded the guarantee.
Yeah, and it should. This is, we're talking with Joe about it as well. This is just, in my recent memory, and by recent, I mean 6, 7, 8 years, this has been the best 500, and same goes for the 5K, the best 5K that I remember playing. It's just, it was absurd. I didn't know anybody, you know, the fact that there was no re-entry was just great as well. Meanwhile, we see the big stacks clash here.
Yeah, not flush on the river. Daigo Papel with second pair. Bet of nearly 7.8 million and makes the call. Change in the chip lead. Just Pray up to 154 million. So yeah, the same kind of money jumps that we're seeing in, well, all of the Stadium Series events we've covered, to be honest. With the next player out getting 55, then we jump to 78. The top 4 in this event get more than 100K. It's 109,000 for fourth, 153K for third, 215,000 for the runner-up, $302,000 for the winner.
And I think this is one of those tables where you look at the stacks and you think, okay, 40 million, 27, 31, 44. So in your head, you kind of think that's the normal stack. And then all of a sudden you realize that everybody has only between 10 and 16 big blinds. And then
Yes.
the thing about the pay jumps is just crazy.
Yeah, it is worth noting that because you've just come from a table where the blinds are much lower, these stacks look huge, and then you realize, oh, the big blind is 2.5 million.
Yeah.
Well, that is second pair for Lucky Luck. Bet and a fold.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how, the small blinds responds with a hand like Queen 9 suited. Some people think, okay, I'm going to push back at the chip leader, but I mean, I would fold a whole lot if you look at the table stack size distribution.
So Daigo Papel now second in chips, winning that part. This is Rodrigo Semugini, who has total online winnings on stars alone of $1.6 million. Took down a scoop event in 2018, was runner-up in the Sunday Million back in 2017, and has pocket jacks here. And that's top set. Solid. But Hanji and Just Pray have whiffed this board. And I'm not sure how much value Rodrigo's going to get from his set. He's following the Joe Stapleton line of always bet your set. And two folds. So the 530 goes on a break, which means the 5K is going to be coming back from break. A reminder, we are down to the final 5 players in this $5 million guaranteed event. A huge chip lead for Maxim Shio, 139 big blinds. Sergor and Vlada also deep stacked. The same cannot be said for Footy 18 or Fernando Viana, 22 and 20 big blinds respectively. But with a 60 big blind average, this thing does have the potential to go the distance, as it should, when you consider that it is a 5K buy-in with a top prize of more than 820K.
Yeah, 100%. We saw Dagaminuku go all in and Footy folds A6 offsuit, and that was for a lot less big blinds than this. And I highlighted that it's much better to go all in than to call all ins with pay jumps like this, and that hand kind of highlights it. And now with A7 offsuit, finds himself with a comfortable all in to push back, but had the small blind gone all in, he would have folded that A7. So it's very important to see kind of, who takes the last aggressive action. And that should be you in most cases when ICM is a big consideration for you.
So 9-8 versus King-Queen, top pair versus second pair.
Both players, I think, are going to be pretty happy with this flop. 9-8 is going to be good here. Lots of times, King-Queen really doesn't have that much to fear, and stacks are deep enough to where, you check all flop, and you can even check all 4K on the turn, and you still have 4 million, and then you still have 44 million behind. So it's impossible in this hand to just face like, where you call, and then face an all-in shove.
Yeah.
So no matter what in this hand, you're not going to be facing a decision for all your chips, and that is really, really relaxing.
Sergor with a lock on this. Queen still good. Goes check on the river. Sergor wins that pot. Sheety asks, can you guys let us know how the low is going at the moment? I can. They are down to 6 players in that event. This is the $55 buy-in version of the grand final, which has a $1 million prize pool and a first prize of just over 100K. 6 players remaining, and it is 23 Love Crew from Belarus, who is the current chip leader with 356 million chips. Do you know how many runners there were in the low legs? I guess you do. You probably played it, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember.
21,207.
What? That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Everybody only 1 bullet's insane.
There are 7s on the turn for Sergor.
Gives Vlada some perspective in the hand, can make a straight with a 9. Obviously, we know that will be a pretty juicy card for the action.
Look at this river. You know why that is, don't you? Because it is always coming 7. The 7, it is always coming.
Oh, I actually only just realized, I must have relearned it, but that Wattenloos is actually 7's guy. I did not know that was Christian Rudolph. I did not know that. That gave me a really good laugh on stream 2 days ago.
How much fun are you going to have now every time you play against him, just knowing that he is the one who gave an incomprehensible explanation of what the 7's meme is all about?
He's gonna be pelted by chat lines by me. That's not gonna stop. But you know, it's out of appreciation, because that has to be one of the funniest memes that have emerged in poker probably ever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because, of course, he plays with the Flaming 7. We had Andre Letal make the final table of last week's freeze-out final. He also has the 7 avatar as well. And we've got Fusi 18 opening here with King Jack, 1.8 million. And everyone else folds. Pocket Jacks for Sergor opens to 1.8. Gets me every time. Every time we're at 400, 800, and we go, okay, we're going to 500 million next. And then along comes the 450,000, 900,000 blind level. Dagum Unagu opening to 1.8. But a lot of interesting button big blind battles between these two. And trip 8s on the flop. The 10 high kicker currently playing.
Oh, that's always, you just know what's going to happen too. It's when you call a raise from the pre-flop aggressor and it comes 8-8, you just know, okay, you know, there's at least a small bet and there's going to be a really big bet, and it's so annoying.
1.6 into 4.6. And a fold, and Dagum comfortably above 100 million right now, and now has pocket 10s. And that is raise and take it. So shortest stack right now is Fernando Viviana, who's down to 11.9 million and is in the big with ace deuce of clubs, facing this raise from king 5. All in.
Oh, good. Again, this is, you know, a spot where you might not feel comfortable calling all in with ace 2 suited, but going all in, putting pressure, creates a lot of fold equity. All of a sudden, the expectancy of the hand just goes up by miles, because every time they fold, you're printing money. But when you call all in, you always just have to run it against the 40% of your opponent. And it's the group of folds that makes it so much better to go all in with hands.
Vlada with ace jack on the button. Raises to 1.8. Fernando Viana with king 10 of spades. All in.
Yep.
And let's see if Vlada calls this and puts Viana at risk.
It does.
He does. 10 high flop though.
Oh.
Clubs. No. Instead, the 7 comes, and F. Viana will get the double up to 32 million. Vlada down to 26 million, and Footy now the shortest stack at this 5-handed final table with 19 million. And now queens.
Yeah. Whoa.
All in with 6s from the chip leader, all in to call with queens. Just had the double up. Calls. In a dominating spot. Has to fade a 6 on the river, does. And that will see F. Viana double up again. So Viana goes from being the shortest stack at the table in 2 consecutive hands, Lex, is now not only second in chips, but is not that far behind the chip leader.
Yeah, this just shows like how crazy fast it can go, and that's why exactly you should never panic in a moment like this. It's just, it's such a relaxing spot. Now covers all the players to the right. It's crazy. It's just a dream scenario, really. Especially, of course, the King 10 definitely needed a little bit of help.
Yeah. Almost absurd. And I think this is the lowest we've seen Dagger Menegu's stack all day. Sub 75 million. Sergor raising small to big here with Jack Deuce, the ace king for the big blind player. Vlad at 21.08. And now back up to just shy of 30 million. Yeah. Dagger Menegu started the day, Lex, came into the final table with 84 million, and that stack has only gone up from there and has been comfortably playing more than 100 million for a lot of this final table.
Yeah, there's a new situation now for them, and they need to adjust, and that's okay. You know, at least 4 people have gone out, which will make them a little bit more relaxed as well. But all of a sudden, you know, it shows that they can bleed as well, and it's not as clear cut as it was before. Now 2 other players can put a serious dent in your stack, making you the short stack of the table, and that's a far cry from what it was, where he could lose against the number 2 and still be in second. You know, so this is completely different. Hope they adjust, and it's going to be very interesting to see if they do.
Well, this could be Lex's favorite type of pot. Yes, he gets checked to showdown. It is a chop pot. And you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Oh, wow. You guys have a thing now. You guys have a thing now. You see, I did it too, even though you have been saying that we weren't going to do this and this wouldn't be done.
I changed my mind.
All right. So I got you. I got you.
I enjoyed your half-hearted participation. It made my week.
That's the most you'll ever get out of me, honestly. I actually wish I would have put the volume on of the stream to see how badly we butchered that one.
You see, Birch, you're missing the point. That was a big cringe. Lex was not committed to that chop pot. But that's what makes it so special.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, all in here with 10s after King Queen opens, but no call. And look at Fernando Viana closing the gap now. 66 million, 72 million for Dagger Menegu. And King 9 opens to 1.8 million.
Ooh.
Flattered by the King Queen and by the Queen 7. 3-way to this 8-8-5 flop. When we get to the 500,000, 1 million blind level, Rick Fast says we will need the human mathematician at the next level. It's the human calculator. The vast majority of mathematicians are humans, but there is only one human calculator, and his name is Joe Stapleton. But bear in mind, this is day 23 of 23, and he's a little bit tuckered out, and his brain isn't what it once was. Can't put him under too much pressure. Really close now between Efiana and Dagamunagu. Raise with a6 from Sergor. Queen 10 of hearts for Efiana. Oh, that's a solid flop for Queen 10.
Yep. That'll do.
Now a pair of fives for Dagamunagu.
Okay, might prompt Efiana to put some protection out there. Plenty of weaker hands that he can get called by.
Not sure a pair of fives can call here. No. And ace-6 will also pass, but we have a new chip leader for the first time at this final table. Dagamunagu is not number one on the leaderboard. With the American Airlines, Efiana is now chip leader and is likely to increase that chip lead, raising to 1.8 million with the pocket rockets, the boots, the bullets. And look at this, a re-raise from King 10.
Well,
do you ever consider just flatting here?
yeah, I was just considering that. Just kind of like looking how deep the stacks are. It's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough because I think you're going to get quite some action from good hands, because this is also finally the moment you can do something back against what was the chip leader the whole tournament, and was, at least before this hand. I kind of like the sizing. You might tempt people to kind of peel this with a suited ace or a king-queen type combination. You know, it's very tough to outflop aces. I think also it's just going to be a little bit annoying if you flat call with the aces to call the flop. You don't really want to raise on most boards, and you get handcuffs in some situations where you might lose on where you might lose out of max value versus hands like jacks.
Well, Efiana has increased his chip lead. Vlada open here with ace-9. Let's see what Fernando does with ace-7 of clubs.
Yeah, Vlada not the shortest stack at the table. Super interesting to see. I was just going to say we might see a re-raise here. Any suited ace at this point when you're chip leader just feels like, okay, I can bluff re-raise and put so much pressure. And I think Efiana has been dying to kind of do what Dagamunagu has been doing. And that's this, just re-raise people, make them fold.
And now, Fernando Viana picks up kings, opens to 1.8, flattered by Dagamunagu with ace-queen of diamonds. Oh, nut flush draw versus kings. And this is such a beautiful situation for the short stacks.
Yeah, you're so right. So as soon as you see this bet and a call, like your mind just starts racing. Wow, what a turn.
Oh, wow. So now, top pair and the flush draw for Dagamunagu. But Fernando Viana still better than a 2-1 favorite with the overpair. Bets 7 million into 10 million. Any thoughts to raising here?
I think at this point, you have to respect the fact that the other person is covering you, and if you raise the turn, all of a sudden, you're gonna really slim down the group of hands you're gonna be able to get it in against. I think at this point, you should just be super happy that this hand is not gonna go to all in. And you might win a lot against bluffs that might think, hey, there's a Broadway card, I'm chip leader, I'm gonna make it fold. It's just very, very unfortunate turn.
17.5 million snap called, and that will see Fernando Viana increase his chip lead at this five-handed final table, now playing 112 million. And look at the stack of Dagamunagu. Has dropped down to 32 million, has dropped down to third place on the leaderboard.
That's very unfortunate. There's just nothing you can do with that hand, honestly. Such a great turn. In some ways, you're happier with the queen than an ace hitting, because a queen just also provides action, but it feels safer.
Oh my. The weird thing is, Lex, it's not beyond the realms of possibility that, you know, 20 minutes ago, someone decided to take a short break, make some food, come back to the stream and like, no, hang on a second. That guy had like 11 big blinds. How does he now have this huge chip lead? What a ridiculous 20-minute run he has been on.
Yeah, and you see this happen a lot at the table, where a person goes on a run and then starts doing things like this with their chips, which is really awesome to see. Viana putting lots of pressure there with the suited one-gapper. That's the name of the game. It's no limit hold'em, and people forget that sometimes. If somebody has 20 big blinds and there's a few 80 big blind stacks at the table, you can double twice. You know, collisions happen, all-ins happen, and it just swings back and forth so quickly. And you know, it's on one hand, it's very important to know that can happen, and on the other hand, it's very important to accept that it can happen when you lose a lot of chips. A lot of time when people come in, they think that it's because of bad play, but it simply isn't, you know.
Well, we see another appearance of American Airlines at this table. Pocket aces now for Dagamunagu. Meanwhile, it's presto, the pocket fives for our chip leader, who flats the open from Vlada. Chance for Maxime to get some back here.
Yeah, and this is just really nice for him. Obviously, feels super safe. There's a call there. It's really nice to win some chips back after that pop. But at the same time, losing that many chips, you really want this just to be an all-in, you know. So let's see if the fives are going to peel. I'm very curious. It's 4.5 million to call. Doesn't do it.
Disciplined fold. Always that danger of getting too carried away when you've been on a sick run like that. You're bouncing cards off the wall. Yeah, I'll call with fives here. Try and flop a set. Next thing you know, I've just given the chip lead back to that guy.
Yeah, and oh, there we go. An all in from pocket eights. Let's see what ace jack and the big thinks of this.
And Vlada is covered, so this would be all in to call. Folds. Vlada now the shortest stack with 18 million.
What a sweat this is so crazy, and it's been unreal how much action we've seen for this final table. I think the level of play has been outstanding. I mean, we had and have a few people who satellite into this event, but I think everybody held their own really well so far, and we've seen big hero calls. We've seen really, lots of bluffing, also pre-flop, people standing up to chip leaders. This has been really fun to watch.
Definitely. With Jack-9, options limited for Vlada. Folds the best hand.
Yeah.
Fiona holding on to that chip lead. And now a raise from Sergor with 1.8 million going across the line.
Sergor hasn't done too much in the last few rounds, but there's been so much action around him. I don't blame him. Oh, we see two massive hands here. These two square off again.
And again, this is such a beautiful spot for Vlada and Futi